G'day everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Good, Bad and Ugly on the channel. In this video today, we're going to be unpacking the crazy round of round 20 of the 2023 AFL season. Might as well call it the upset round. There were plenty of upsets across the span of the weekend, so keen to have a chat about the latest weekend of the football. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're going to enjoy. It will always be heavily appreciated, and let's get straight into it. So out of the whole 9 games there was this weekend, 6 of those games were won by the underdogs, which is a bit of a crazy stat. Don't think we've had that much of an upset round this year, I don't think, but certainly the one we will kick it off with, Friday night footy, was won by the underdog. The Blues getting a huge win over their bitter rivals, a bit of revenge from last year, get undone by 17 points, and they move comfortably at the moment into the 8. Whilst yes, the Pies, ladder-wise, they can probably afford to drop that game, but, you know, it's a game where I just felt probably, well, the Pies did kick the first 2 goals of the game. We felt, well, here we go, this is going to be another classic Pies fast starts, because they usually start games pretty well, but honestly, after it was, I think, 𝐓𝐴𝐷𝐼𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐵N's goal from 60 out, an absolute bomb it was, that really set the tone, and from that point onward, honestly, all I can say is the Blues were pretty much the better team. Better around the foot. I thought in contested ball and the clearance game, they really bullied Collingwood around the ball. They were able to really, the likes of 𝐓𝐡𝐞 and 𝐎𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐵N, I thought 𝐎𝐿𝐼𝐻 was the best on ground at halftime. They're really able to burrow in, win a few of those hard balls, and generate the ball forward. They really took the game on. Sort of played similar to Collingwood. I thought their D50 transition was sensational. They, instead of bombing it down the line, they always like to look for the hand pass option and then go by foot and use the corridor a little bit more. I thought their corridor use was really good. But yeah, here you go. Plus 10 clearances, 28 to 19 stoppage clearances, plus 33 contested possessions. These are just crazy numbers, and they're able to make the most of their chances inside 50. And the thing that is the difference for the Blues at the moment is they're starting to get output from some role plays. After Jack Martin's blunder of giving away a 100-metre penalty, he was the X factor in the game. He managed to boot home 3 goals and was a menace in their forward 50. Motlop, I thought he had a really good game. Charlie Curnow, of course, the best on ground. 𝐼𝐻𝐵N's goals, yes, had a bit of help from the umpires with a few frees, but a few of the frees were there. But he gained some good separation from Darcy Moore. Ground level, we all know is a threat, and he had some nice goals in open play as well. But I think another key to their win, the Blues, was restricting Collingwood's ball movement when they wanted to take the game on. We didn't really see much of Collingwood's run and gun footy when they tried to do it. You saw Carlton's half forwards pressure them so well, bring the ball to ground and trying to force turnovers. Their halfbacks or half forwards would push in the stoppage and try and not let Collingwood get that easy hand pass out, because they're a very good side doing that, the Pies. And I thought they ticked honestly every single box. We all thought we were waiting, were Collingwood going to come back into the game? They didn't. The Blues were really good on all levels. Adam Chara was subbed out with a hamstring concern, but I thought he was the best player on ground at half time. Nick Newman was busy with 27. Akers had plenty of the footy. Paddy Cripps thought he had a great game in the coalface. Jacob Weitering was sensational down back, and even Brody Kemp, a few of their defenders are in some great form, but Weitering's been an absolute rock the past month or so. So yeah, Blues, it was a complete performance, much better than the Pies, and they get it done by 17. A huge win and a bit of revenge. The upsets do not stop there as we move on to the first game on Saturday, where we did not expect this. The Cats losing to Fremantle by 7 points at 𝐺𝐸𝐴. A bit of deja vu from last year. We all thought an easy win. Certainly wasn't the case right from minute 1 with this game. It started off as a little bit of a stalemate with a low-scoring quarter. But yeah, Freo just, as soon as that second term started, I think it was 3 quick goals in a row. This is a bit of a game on now. I really like the way how they moved the ball. Defensively, they're really sound. When they are on, they defend really well, and that's sort of like their foundation towards having a good game. And I thought it was led by Alex Pearce. Sensational most of the time. He's been very poor from time to time, but he can still have the old good game. And without Brennan Cox, without a few of those key plays, he was awesome. Mostly did the job on Jeremy Cameron. They built from that. Around the footy, well, this is the issue for the Cats. They're just not hard enough. I felt they were pretty comfortable, pretty soft. A few questionable decisions when moving the ball. I felt like they were trying to be too cute with kicks. Had some terrible turnovers, which resulted in a few goals as well. Blicavs is a huge out around the middle part of the game. He's out with a hamstring injury. He's probably their most accountable player in the midfield. He's very good at running both ways, so that's a huge out. Inside 50, they had their options. Josh Corbett with 2 goals. Michael Walters getting busy. Frederick, one of the goals of the year he kicked. They found some avenues towards goal for him. And some credit to him. I think Schultz is a very underrated underrated player as well. He was able to make a bit of an impact down forward as well. And usually when Freo play great footy, it is led by their gun midfield of the big tandem of Sarong and Brayshaw. 29 touches, 28 touches. I thought they had some really great games as well. So yeah, their ball movement I felt was a difference. Freo, and I thought they really made Geelong pay off a few of those questionable turnovers. And honestly, in the end, I thought they just simply wanted it more. It was a sensational win on the road, and in a bit of a disappointing year for the Dockers, I feel like that is a definite highlight in their season. We move on to game number 3 of the round, and game number 3 of upsets. The Giants with another close win over their probably bitter modern rivals of the Western Bulldogs. These two teams usually hate each other, and we could see it pretty much throughout the duration of this game. I thought it was pretty feisty with a lot of contests, but it was just another Bulldogs same old loss, really. I think it probably says a little bit more about Bulldogs with this game, because they were pretty comfortable in the lead. I think they were around 35 points up, around something like that throughout the third term. But then again, the same issues happen. They always concede just a surge of amount of goals in a row, and then the tables turn, and then they just fall apart. Defensive transition all goes out the window. Toby Green's performance was sensational. 4 goals in the premiership quarter, they do say, to get the Giants back within a bit of a margin, saying, hey, we are in this game, and then to kick the winner and put them in front. He's just an absolute superstar, Toby Green. 5 goals at the end of it. He was just a difference maker in that game, and this is another comeback win from the Giants. I think they have won 5 games this year when they've been down at 3/4 time, to win another close one, and the belief in this team, and still showing 100% effort throughout 4 quarters is really what's the difference for the Giants this year. And I felt like, though, the first half was pretty poor for them. I think that they defended not so great. Sam Taylor still took 8 intercept marks, don't get me wrong. But it was really, the damage was done in that first half with the Bulldogs midfield power. Bontempelli had a great start to the game. Liberatore was really busy as well. Timmy English as well. He had 2 first half goals, was just really acting as that all-Australian worthy extra midfielder in the Bulldogs midfield. I thought his first half was great. But yeah, the tables really started to turn in that second half. And yeah, the Giants were sort of able to move the ball with a little bit more dare. They started to get on top in contested possession. And it's just really their Orange Tsunami, their ball movement. They always love to take the game on. They always love the overlapping hand pass. They have players that always want to push forward. Lockie Whitfield's game was really good. Josh Kelly's second half thought was sensational. And let's be honest, it just really was led by Toby Green. Overall, brilliant performance from the Giants. It's just another shameful loss from the Bulldogs. They just can't afford to keep on dropping these close games. It's just been the story of their losses this year. But the Giants just keep on marching on. It was a sensational comeback, and really did snatch victory at the jaws of defeat, winning another close one by 5 points. Moving on now to the Q clash, and geez Louise, were we expecting this sort of result? The Gold Coast Suns probably playing their best game of this season, knocking out their bitter crosstown rivals of the Brisbane Lions by an outstanding 41 points. They showed no mercy in this game, and I absolutely love watching this performance. Just for me, the Suns were just much more physical around the footy. They wanted it more, and they moved the ball so quickly and so fastly. I thought their ball movement was sensational. They moved it with dare, moved it with pace. Really, really good with hand passes and handball receives, and going inside 50, they found their options. Ben King's been in the press with a few poor games here or there. He's been goalless for almost a month. He comes out and kicks 5 goals. They just found their avenues towards goal, and it was just an absolute avalanche with the goals they kicked. The Brisbane Lions are usually a very tough as nails midfield. They're usually a great clearance side, a great forward half side, but the Suns, they're a good clearance side themselves, and they're able to be a lot more accountable of a team, just bully them around the ball and moving the ball. They limited Harris Andrews' impact. They limited Lachie Neale's impact. 𝐼𝐶 Miller went head-to-head with Neale, tagged him till there was absolutely like there was no tomorrow. He won the medal, the Marcus Ashcroft medal. In the end, I thought his game was brilliant. He just pretty much exhausted Lachie Neale, beating him across the ground, and his own game was brilliant too. I think he had something around 30 touches. They won the contested possession count, much better with ball movement, and maybe this is the sort of performance that the Lions have. It's probably one of their most poorest performances this year. I felt they were very, very bland when moving the ball. Defensively, they couldn't defend really that well, and they were just out-hunted and weren't tough enough around the footy. So that's a rare performance from the Lions. The Suns, way too good. 𝐼𝐶𝐞 𝐎𝐥𝐿, as I said, was brilliant. Sam Flanders, his last month, has been really, really good as well with 32. And, you know, even off halfback, 𝗏𝐿 has been great. Rory Atkins as well. He's been a bit of a revelation. Overall, great team performance. Led from their midfield, and they had some exciting plays in the ball movement. Superb. What a win for the Suns. Then we moved on to the next game here. This was the first game of the round where the favourite actually won. Can you believe it? The Swans winning by 2 points and avoiding a massive scare from the Dons. They were up the Swans by, I think, around, what was it, like 30 or 35 points or something at three-quarter time, looking like they were going to cruise into a comfortable sort of win. They kept the Dons at arm's length for the most of this game, but yeah, wow, Essendon just came back. I don't know what it is with the Swans with their final quarters. They've been poor this year, but they managed to kick a glut of goals and bring it within a goal. But then Tom Papley at the end kicking that sealer, him firing up. And then, yeah, the questionable out in the fourth, I think it hit Chad Warner's shin. Means he kicking a goal, but it was left too late as the Swans did hold on. A crazy sort of game. These two clubs, I tell you what, they're just always good quality games. Both teams leave nothing in the tank. Well, probably that's not true to be said for Essendon. I thought their three quarters starting the game well, but really I think from that second term onwards, second and third quarters were really, really disappointing. The Swans were able to really break away. And again, the difference maker in this game is just the Swans' ball movement and their turnover and pressure game. This was the difference between a win and loss, I felt, for Sydney, because if you look at the team stats, right, I mean, the Dons winning in almost every department, plus 13 clearances their way, plus 23 contest possessions the Dons' way as well. They had plus 22 inside 50s. You look at these numbers and you feel like Essendon should be winning this one from, you know, the front face on paper. But again, it's just the Swans' ball movement. I felt going inside 50 in their transition game was really, really good. They picked out their targets well. Buddy Franklin got subbed out early with the calf problem, so that didn't help them. But they found avenues to goal, and this has been the difference for the Swans the last few weeks. The reason why they've been winning more games, they're finding a bit more avenues towards goals with the likes of Sam Wicks. Tom Papley and Heaney are now in some good form. I felt why the Dons didn't win is because going inside 50, I felt they were not very good. The Swans defended really well. Even though Peter Wright kicked 4 goals, I felt he was mediocre. Tom McCartan, I felt, had a really, really good game. And the Swans in general defended well. They were composed at ground level. They rebounded the ball really nicely. But I think overall, this game was just an absolute epic to watch. 30 goals this was. It's a high-scoring game. Such a free-flowing game. Both teams could not defend each other's ball transition, but a crazy game it was in the end. Zach Merritt was sensational for Essendon. I also really liked Hobbs and Caldwell's games for the Dons, a few of their young midfielders. Errol Goulden with 37 a goal. His work rate as a wingman is sensational. There was a few performances I really did like, and another crazy game between these two clubs who hate each other. The Swans are the close one to keep their finals hopes alive. And then we move on to the showdown. Another huge upset this one was. We all expected, well, most of us expected at least Port Adelaide to put up a bit of a fight, probably win the game. I did tip them for goodness sake, but they're now out of a bit of form, and I think now they're just defensive half has been really, really out of form. They're starting to concede a glut of points at the moment now, and this was on show with this game pretty much from minute one. As soon as Adelaide kicked the first of the game, the Crows with a huge, huge win. And this is the sort of Adelaide that when they are on, we know that they can be a scary good team. They're usually a very efficient inside 50 side, and they can make some impact with a few plays, and they're able to do so, even without Isaac Rankin, of course, Rochelle, they just found their ways towards goal, and it was led by the man, of course, of Taylor Walker. 7 goals, he had a great game. Left foot, right foot, snapshot on either foot, he just does it all. Still a very versatile player. He's able to take some great grabs. He's just an absolute superstar. He was the easy MVP of this game. The difference of this game was just Adelaide's ball movement. They looked way more electric, probably helping with the home crowd as well. But yeah, Port Adelaide just looks so slow, and they look slow in defensive and when moving the ball with that sort of transition. They've just been terribly out of form now. They've dropped the last 3 games, but yeah, I just loved Adelaide's game. They just wanted it more. The pressure was great. It was immense. They defended it a lot better, and going inside 50, picked out options great. Jordan Dawson, 34 touches. Thought he had a fantastic game. Matty Crouch with 32. I know he loves to stuff his stat sheets, but 12 clearances for him. He was really, really handy in the cold face. Laird back in was a huge in. I thought he had a great game too. But yeah, just overall, it was a fantastic team performance. It was a bit of a concerning thing to see 𝐼𝐵 come back on the ground. It looked like he was knocked out cold after that incident. But yeah, you know, even with 𝐼𝐵 in or out of the side, they just had no hope with defending Adelaide's just rapid ball movement. They just couldn't pick at their targets as well. That too great. 33% efficiency inside 50. Couldn't get it done. Adelaide, a huge win. And yeah, another classic showdown game, I guess you can say. They have now won 2 showdown games this year. How bloody good if you are an Adelaide supporter. Move on now to the Sunday games, and we start off with Hawthorn and St Kilda. The Saints with a big win over the Hawks by 29 points. The damage was done in the first term, and this is a Saints that can be dangerous. I think during the game I did hear, when the Saints kick over 80 points, they're 7-0, now 8-0, which is a very, very good stat. They have their issues when scoring, but it was just such a free-flowing first term. I loved their first quarter. They were just able to really take the game on, just generate the ball inside 50, pick their options. They moved it with a bit of dare. The Hawks started the game okay, but it was just an absolute free-fall with goals galore. Brad Crouch kicked 3 goals. I think he was one of the best players out on ground. 3 goals and 32 touches. Thought his game was great. Dan Butler's game was brilliant. I think he's had a bit of an underrated year, Dan Butler. He's had some great performances, but yeah, the Saints' pressure was really great as well. He had 4 goals. Cooper Sharman was great in the air. He slotted home too. Higgins at ground level was great. 𝐼𝐴 had a few nice goals, and yeah, there was a bit of a third quarter where I felt like the Saints fans probably were a little bit nervous with the Hawks getting back in the game. Luke Bruce filled his boots with 5 goals. I thought he had a great game. On Jimmy Webster, just absolutely burnt him. Yeah, Bruce just filled his boots in that third quarter, and we felt, probably heading in this fourth quarter, the Hawks probably maybe win this game with a few more goals in the row. But credit to the Saints, their fourth quarter was really good. They shut them out. Jake Gresham, I thought him coming on as the sub was a great decision by Ross Lyon. He made an impact as well. Their midfield did get the job done. Really like Sinclair's game, still patrolling a little bit from halfback. Steele was great. Marshall strong as well. Wood, I thought he had a bit of an unsung hero kind of performance. I thought he played great across the wing. And when they did also win this game, the Saints are able to negate James Sicily. They applied a lot of body to him, so Sicily couldn't go to the drop zone. They negated them well out of the contest. Really, really well. He didn't take too many intercept marks, and they're able to either take marks inside 50, or the likes of Dan Butler or Higgins were able to make an impact at ground level and kick a few goals. Yes, they let it sort of slip in that second half, but they're able to keep the Hawks at arm's length, and the damage was done with their scoring ability, kicking over 100 points. That's the first time in quite a while, so it's a bit of a breath of fresh air for the Saints, and they're sitting in 5th, so credit to them. Great performance over the Hawks, plucky Hawks, it has to be said, by 29 points. Next game here, we saw the Melbourne Demons get a huge win by 32 points over the Richmond Tigers, and probably throughout the most duration of this game, we felt that this game could be quite in the balance, because I felt both teams had their share of dominance. Most of the Tigers in that second and third quarter, but credit to the D's, their fourth quarter was sensational. They booted the last 6 or 7 goals of the game. The options they're finding inside 50, likes of 𝐼𝐴 and what's his name, 𝐼𝐴𝐴, of course, and Chandler, that's the one I was thinking of, and Van Ryan with 4 goals, and Harry Petty with 6 goals. They've always been a bit inconsistent when scoring, but they've been always toying and experimenting, the D's, with trying to find a few options. But yeah, Harry Petty with 6 goals, he was great in the air. Very, very accurate set shot, it has to be said. And yeah, they found their avenues towards goal. That was the difference. But hey, we all thought maybe throughout stages of this game, were the Tigers looking like the better side. They played their brand really well. The pressure in this game was insane. They really locked the ball in their forward half well. The Tigers, they crushed the ball in there inside 50, and they had their damaging plays, of course, as well. Lean back with some nice goals. Dusty Martin with 3 goals and 21 touches, probably one of the Tigers' most influential players of the game. But yeah, that fourth quarter, where the game was in the balance, the D's were just able to, just really make an impact when moving the ball. And the inside 50 dominance, of course, 73-45, that was the difference in that game, of course, as well. So in the end, the fourth quarter was fantastic from Melbourne. Their ball movement was really good. They seemed to just out-tire the Tigers. They struggled with a bit of defensive ball movement. They picked apart their options inside 50 really well. And Max Gawn's fourth quarter was insane. He had something like 76 Supercoach points in the final quarter. He was out of this well. Apparently got a bit of a spray at half-time from Simon Goodwin, so for him to come out and have a fourth quarter like that was insane. He just kept on grabbing the ball out of ruck, generating it forward, taking some great marks. Petrarca, as that mid-forward sort of player, I thought he had a great game too. But credit to the Ds, they're finding their multiple avenues towards goal. They're finding their options that can kick some big scores, and they are putting up big scores. Their game start at the moment is just looking so complete, and they're a very good chance to push into the top two. Gallant effort from the Tigers, but yeah, the Ds just outclassed them in the end and dominated in inside 50s. And the final game of the round, we saw the wooden spoon bowl, the Eagles finally breaking the drought, getting their second win of the season, and now both these teams are on 8 points, but Eagles still have 17% worse, but not trying to sell that at all. They had a really, really good win, and their second half, third quarter was really, really good. They had multiple goal kickers, a few goals in a row. Noah Long, Jack Darling, 𝐼𝙗𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐼 game I really loved, and Oscar Allen with a few goals too. The pressure was really, really good from them. I felt they were really good around the ball. I really liked the way they moved the ball too. They moved it with a bit of dare. They picked apart their options really nicely inside 50, with the likes of Jack Darling and 𝐼𝙗𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐼. I thought 𝐬𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐼 game was really, really good, mostly playing as a forward. But yeah, they pretty much let it slip in that fourth quarter. 𝗏𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐼 kicked 2 goals in the final term, and then one to LDU with a great centering ball from Shees. Will feel like, oh, here we go, it's a 5 or around a goal game. But yeah, with that miss, unfortunately, from Paul Curtis, it was a chance to tie it up. He missed, and the Eagles were able to run down the clock and get their second win of the year. So yeah, I felt pretty much throughout most of this game the Eagles were probably the better side, as stated before. They were a lot better around the ball. They pressured North Melbourne around the footy really well too, and yeah, they were good going inside 50. They won the inside 50 count by 14. Bailey Williams in the ruck was great. Jamie Cripps forward, he had some nice moments as well. Tim Kelly has had a very underrated year, and Noah Long has been another unsung hero for West Coast. A few of those young players are starting to make a bit of an impact and show some glimpses, so that's great to see. West Coast getting it done by 5 points, their second win of the season. How bloody good. So over on there was another episode of the Good, Bad and Ugly for round 20 of the 2023 AFL season. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you wanted to enjoy today's video. Always enjoy having a yarn about the footy, so yeah, make sure to comment down below and let me know what you think of the round, or a few games, what you liked, what you didn't like. But yeah, it was a crazy round of upsets, that is safe to say. And yeah, 4 rounds left. Things are starting to really tighten up, of course, on the ladder. Keen to see who will make finals. But yeah, apart from that, fellas, thank you for watching, and until next time, I will talk to you later. See you later, fellas.